A scattered dream that's like a far-off memory. A far-off memory that's like a scattered dream. I want to line the pieces up. Yours and mine.
Roxas. Nobody's favorite organization member. I'm gonna be honest with this one. I've struggled to write this script. How do you line the pieces up with a character that I grew to love, starting when I was probably like 8? I've grown and become an adult that has to look inside in order to understand what made Roxas so special to me in the first place. Unfortunately, in order to do that properly, I need to vilify Roxas in order to do him justice. I know a lot of people were introduced to Roxas in 358 days, or have had 16 years to get used to Roxas and what he means to Sora. In the beginning, I didn't like Roxas. He existed. That was his crime. I hated him for what he represented, which was just not being Sora. Day 1. We're introduced to Roxas in the opening of the game, where we saw Sora's journey and when we were left off with Roxas. If it weren't for the constant intrigue of the word photos and Roxas getting the Keyblade, I can't say I would have cared to play the game. Ironically, the whole town didn't like Roxas. Because of the missing pictures, it almost kind of reflects how the player may have felt towards Roxas at this point in the game. Seeing Sora on the cover of the game next to Roxas was enough for me to keep going. At night, Roxas dreams of Sora, but we don't understand why. Part of me thinks we might transition to Sora right after the dream sequence, but the game didn't give my defiant brain a reason to care about Roxas. Day 2. Okay, nice. We're going to the beach today. That sounds like a good time. Honestly, it sounds fun. Destiny Islands was on a beach, and that's more familiar to me, the player. It sounds nice. In order to get to the beach, the game wants me, a child, to get a job and earn money doing mundane tasks. I mean, admittedly, the skateboard is kind of cool, but finally, time to go to the beach. Oh, we're not actually going to the beach. But when we are literally robbed, the Twilight Town gang seems upset at Roxas, as at this point, so am I still. Regardless, Roxas dreams of Sora again. Day 3. Today, we're really going to the beach. Despite what happened yesterday, and now we finally get to... Let's talk about Naminé. She forces her way in front of the player and introduces herself. Nobody's attacked Cypher's gang. Roxas uses the Keyblade. And finally, we get to have an interesting interaction with enemies and get to fight Twilight Thorn, who I personally like better in Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 2, but that's just a personal preference. But where else can you do this? And this. Naminé attempts to tell Roxas what's up. Finally, a little something to ease how much I kinda hate Roxas for existing. I just want to see Sora again. Hayner seems upset when he sees us hanging with Cypher. I'm still upset with Roxas as well, honestly. But today was a good day. Day 4. Today is the day where we make good on our promise to Hayner. And struggle! I really like this day. It does a very good job at roping you into the Twilight Town gang's friendship. Hayner and you need to make it to the finals so you can face each other and win the trophy. Oh, we're fighting each other. Oh. Did you know that if you go to the back alley, you can actually fight Cypher again? That's kind of cool. He's a little bit harder this time. But hey, that's just fun little tidbit. You do a couple fights and Axel forces his way into your day. A member of the organization who insists you're friends. Okay, great. Roxas doesn't remember him, and that's enough for a fight. He leaves and Roxas and the gang celebrate winning by hanging on the clock tower. Until we get a cool interaction between him and Kairi, with Sora speaking. Roxas and Sora connected, but why? But I still can't forgive him. But now I'm left a little bit confused. Day 5. Today, Olette wants to do homework. Off to a good start. The catch, of course, being the 7 wonders of Twilight Town. To everyone in town, they're all just coincidences, but Roxas sees reality. Everything is much darker and scarier than he expects them to be. Wow. Finally, we're getting somewhere. The last of these wonders brings us to the mansion, where Roxas sees Naminé, and Naminé exposes our prejudice of Roxas to our faces.
Do you know about me? That I don't?
You were never supposed to exist, Roxas.
What? How could you even say such a thing? Even if it were true.
I'm sorry. I guess some things really are better left unsaid.
It's at this point where suddenly I realize as an adult now how selfish I was to dismiss Roxas as just a fake Sora. He's half of who Sora is and yet is his own person at the same time. Day 6. Roxas is directed to the mansion where he has a flash of his old life in the organization.
It doesn't. I want to know. I have the right to know.
A nobody doesn't have a right to know. Nor does it even have the right to be.
We see an interaction with Riku where he beats him and then is injected into the simulated Twilight Town, starting our protagonist on day 1. Now that Roxas has aspirations above his mundane simulated life, it's hard to dismiss him as a character that nobody likes. Axel confronts Roxas again, and Roxas takes him on. No longer being the friends he once knew, Axel flees for his life. Now being on the same page as Roxas, his fights are our fights. We know he's running away from Sora, and yet we hope he runs to him. Diz confronts Roxas with his plans for revenge and belittles him. I want to side with Diz, and yet I feel for Roxas now. Diz manipulates Roxas's anger, and Roxas gets close enough to trigger the pod.
Sora.
Every bitter feeling I had melts away within an instant as I can see Sora now in my view. Everything has led to this moment, and now I'm left with this bittersweet moment as I say goodbye to Roxas and hello to Sora. I'm happy, but now I'm kind of a little bit sad. Thank you everyone for watching the video up to this point. I just want to interject and say, hey, I'm doing 2 parts of a Roxas video. This was part 1. Part 2 should come out in a couple days. Thank you so much for being patient and waiting. I just wanted to thank everyone for subscribing, and please, honestly, just let me know what you think of the video. But yeah, part 2's coming where Sora interacts with Roxas and Roxas gets to say his goodbyes with Axel. But thank you so much and have a good rest of your day.